gonna have, oh, thanks, Ben. Appreciate that, bud. We're really appreciative of all of you guys coming on here, and hopefully you're getting the benefits from these meetings. I think it probably is happening because we're growing, and anyway, we just appreciate everybody a lot. So like Ben just did, we're going to record this today, so that way we can send it out to all the people that don't get a chance to watch it live, and then we'll be that. Now, I am going to ask everybody, if you can, either raise your hand or do a hand thing on Zoom, so I can call on you if you have a question or whatever. Once Amy starts down the road, she'll probably take control of that, but we like to keep the comments to 3 to 5 minutes if you can. That way we can get everybody a chance to talk. Everybody gets a chance to visit about what's going on, and that's important as well. So last time we appreciated having Carol Ann and Amy with Destination Rehab join us. But today I'm excited because Amy with the Brain Injury Network is joining us. I'm going to set this up a little bit with a little backstory. So both my dad and my brother and I have all had strokes. My brother Steve is on the call if you guys can see him. And anyway,
you're better looking, Keith.
Thank you. Of course.
Hey.
I appreciate that, Arnie. That's probably one of the first times I've ever heard that.
Maybe the last too.
Hey, Keith, don't you want your brother's beard?
Of course I do.
Everybody wants my beard.
Here's the problem. We're not like John Burdett. We can't grow it overnight. For somebody like me, it would take me a lifetime.
What do you say, Keith? I've been growing this since I was, what, 25?
I think so, which also, be careful, because I might have to say your age. So,
Now stop it, because I know how old you are too.
I don't make that that's no secret from everybody here. So anyway, real quick. So my brother was sent to the Brain Injury Network to see Amy Berryman, and after his stroke, and he learned so much, and we were talking about it at Dad's house one time, and he just went on and on about Amy and everything that she did for him. And so I thought, well, gosh, that sounds like a great person to have on our stroke survivor meetings. So I really appreciate her coming on here. I'm going to say a couple more things, Amy, before you get going here. I know everybody, we had Dr. Applebaum, and that was, I really appreciate that, Jeff, for you having him come on and stuff. But Amy does her own stuff as well, and she isn't as, what's the word, Amy? Don't have all the names behind you or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not an eye doctor, but
right. She's not an eye doctor, but anyway, so a couple of things that she helped Steve with that I wanted to just touch on. His eye torsion or twisting of the eye, she really helped him with that. She did eye stretches with him, focusing on one thing, then release it and relax. These were things that Steve told me. Red line focusing. They did an eye chart that was all mixed up, and he had to do that all the time, making sure that people are going to the eye doctor and challenging them. That's one of the things that Amy had him do. Make sure that you go multiple times. And I know Jeff has talked about that many times with us as well. So anyway, you did such a great job, Amy, with Steve, that I wanted to have you come on here and talk a little bit. And so if you can just kind of lead us through this, and then we could ask questions and whatever, I'd really appreciate that. That'd be great.
yeah, and I put together a little presentation. I have a few videos if people are interested. So I was going to share my screen if that is okay with everyone.
Yeah.
First of all, good to see you, Keith, again. Hi, Steve. It's really good to see you. Are you doing okay?
Hi.
You all right? We haven't
seen
Steve in a while. It's winter. So
yeah. I haven't fallen down much since I've seen you.
Good. That gives me peace of mind. So, okay, let me see if I can get this up here. Let's see, Zoom, share. Here we go. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully we'll be able to share some audio. I have a nice little presentation for you all today, but I also wanted to tell you I'm an occupational therapist and I graduated from University of Oklahoma way back in the year 2000. So I've been an occupational therapist working with people who have stroke and brain injury since I started my career. And I have just really enjoyed my career and being able to help people. But one of the areas that I focus on is vision after people have had a stroke or brain injury. And so I have a lot of close relationships with eye doctors and have worked with many over the years in collaboration to both make sure people are getting good eye evaluations and getting seen by the right people, but also getting good therapy afterwards. And it was really fun to hear Dr. Applebaum because I've worked with a lot of doctors similar to him, and he definitely has a big role. And there are plenty of people like Dr. Applebaum, they're not, it's not on every street corner, but we definitely have people in the Oregon, Washington area that can be available. So one of the things that Dr. Applebaum also emphasized was that after you have a stroke, you can have all sorts of impairments from with your vision, which include blurry, double, field loss, attention, and it affects how you participate in your daily life. And I think that's where I come from as an occupational therapist, is figuring out how to help people do that. And so one of the things that occupational therapists often do is a screening to see if a person needs to go to the eye doctor. So for those of you who have been through rehabilitation, you may have had a screening from an occupational therapist, but when you go to someone and they do a screening, there are certain things that they should be looking for. So I want you all to just have some education today about that. And then I'm going to show you some cool things with eye movements that can be done. But when someone screens your vision, they should ask about what ADLs are important to you or what you want to be able to do. Steve, can I talk about you a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wanted to be able
Keith
to work on his
does all the
land.
time.
Yeah, he wanted to be able to work on his land, or be all around outside without falling over, which was happening frequently when I first met him. So he was having lots of falls, and we wanted to figure out how to make that better. But being able to get around and do that was really important to him. So we were able to kind of make some of our treatment closer to that. But someone should ask about your past, like, have you had eye surgeries? Do you wear glasses? Do you want someone to ask you if you have any symptoms or complaints? How's the clarity of your vision? How your eyes are moving, how they're moving together. And then your visual field, which is, the range that you can see, you want to make sure that that gets checked out. So when an occupational therapist does a screening, it's not necessarily diagnostic. Like, we can't say, like an eye doctor can, definitively this is what you have. But why we do this is so that we can help people get to the right services and can help guide our treatment. There are certain things that we can do, like work on eye movements without having to send someone to the eye doctor. But if a person's having blurry vision, or we think they need glasses or any special lenses, they have to go to an eye doctor. So we work hard to try to make the right referrals. So this is also just to clear up a little bit with Dr. Applebaum from the last time I was with you all. An optometrist is a person that has not been to medical school. They've been to optometry school. So they And they specialize in lenses, prisms, and you will find a lot of optometrists who also focus on vision rehabilitation. So those optometrists often call themselves a neuro-optometrist or a rehabilitation optometrist, which is what Dr. Applebaum was. But if you have eye health issues, so like if you've had bleeding in your eye, if you need to have a surgery, if you have, some interesting patterns of blindness or anything like that, you will likely see an ophthalmologist, which is a medical doctor. And some of those ophthalmologists have specialties, like some specialize in the retina, some specialize in doing plastic surgery if you've had a broken bone, or you've had anything cosmetic happen. And then some specialize in LASIK. So, and you might be seeing both an optometrist and an ophthalmologist if you have needs in both of these areas. But these are the two of the resources that Dr. Applebaum also said. But I know right here in Portland, we have Dr. Rosemary Stone, and we have Dr. Bruce and his care team at Northwest Eye Care Associates that all do vision-based rehabilitation. And they're both rehabilitation optometrists or neuro-optometrists.
That is a good point, that we need to make sure we get that message from you somehow, or we can have Ben put it up or whatever, but.
Dr. Stone and Dr. Bruce Wojciechowski, I think is his name, but it's Northwest Eye Care Associates, and Dr. Stone is A New Vision.
Okay, thank you.
So those are two local resources that they do really thorough evaluations. And if you need lenses or prisms, or you're having double vision, they'll be great people to go see.
All right, thank you.
Steve lives in a small town, so he was seeing his optometrist locally. And so we had to really advocate with him to make sure he got the right things, because the local town eye doctor wasn't as well versed as maybe some of the doctors down here, but we were able to kind of articulate and get his needs met. So for what
Because he wants to be part of Greater Idaho.
yeah. That's hilarious. So here's just another side-by-side chart for you all to have as a resource when kind of thinking about optometry versus ophthalmology. So an ophthalmologist can also do like lenses and that kind of thing. But if you need glasses or a prism or some vision therapy, you're going to want to look for an optometrist that specializes in rehabilitation. But if you have anything eye health that's over like a red eye or like a minor eye infection, you'll probably want to see an ophthalmologist. So here is something from an occupational therapy perspective, a pretty cool chart about how to think about your vision. The goal of everyone's vision is to be able to adapt, to use your vision to adapt and do everything you want to do. And this is a little pyramid, but at the base of the pyramid is eye movements, which is how smoothly your eyes are moving, the wideness of your vision, and then the clearness of your vision. So the foundation of good vision starts right here with clarity, the breadth of what you can see, and then how smoothly your eyes move. And after a stroke, these things can be affected down here, which is why we like to do a vision screen and get people good eye examinations. Because when something's affected at the base of this pyramid, it affects how you can pay attention with your eyes. It affects how you scan your environment. It affects how you can remember things. And so all of these skills kind of build upon each other. So you might be thinking like, oh, I'm so forgetful with my eyes, or I can't remember what I saw, or I can't pay attention. And I think this was happening with Steve when I saw him. He was having a hard time paying attention and remembering things. But a lot of what was happening is that his eye movements were really jerky and he was getting dizzy when his eyes moved. And so it was harder for him to remember things or to really pay attention to what he was seeing because his eyes were having to take so much effort to just move around. So this is one lens that we kind of take when we're thinking about how people adapt and use their vision for their ADLs. We want to look at the foundation and see what's happening there and seeing how those things can be contributing. And then one of the other things that occupational therapists think about a lot is in a treatment plan, having both compensatory, so this is like substitution or making things easier so you can be comfortable. So we want to find ways to do things differently or to adapt so that your vision is comfortable, but then we also want to think about remedial things. So when Steve came to see me, we gave him some lenses that had some tape on it. He was wearing his sunglasses more with some tape on it to help him feel better. So we gave him some compensations to take the edge off, like, let's do this so it's not so hard for you to use your eyes. But then we gave exercises to start remediating or making it better or relearning. So there's always a balance of that. And there are certain things like after a certain amount of time, or for example, if you lose one eye, like your eye just gets injured and it's never going to work again, you have to find compensatory ways to use the other eye. There's no remediating that. But on the other hand, like you can focus only on remediating things. But I think typically there's a really nice balance of helping people be comfortable. And many of you might be using compensatory things like bigger print or a special pair of glasses, or you might use your computer screen a little specially. And I think that can be really helpful because it makes life easier. It helps you participate in your life better. But then you can also continue to do things to keep your eyes strong and healthy and continue to improve. So it's important to think about both. Like, how do I continue to participate and feel good? And then also, how can I keep getting better? So I'm going to just take you guys through some common compensations that people use. One in general that all of you can work on is just not having so much clutter around. You know, if you're trying to really pay attention with your eyes, it can be helpful to like clear the space and make the things that are most important be right there. And then also you can use lighting or a magnifier or reading glasses or, you know, anything to kind of just help make the information you need to take in more prominent. Sometimes for double vision, we recommend that people use a tape occlusion, and we use that instead of a black patch. Did anyone here have to use a black patch or a tape after their stroke?
Jeff Chetland did.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Did you do a black patch or a tape, Jeff?
No, I did the tape, and that's when I lived in rehab for about a month before I realized my eyes were really a problem. And every day they would change it from the right to the left, right to the left, and it never did anything for me.
It doesn't make it better. So
No, and then I ended up going to like a Prism. I had a Prism for a year, which was wonderful.
Yes. So we're talking about just ways for people to compensate while they're figuring out the plan for getting better or doing exercise. So the tape only just covers up double vision. So like when you wear it, you don't have double vision, but it doesn't necessarily make the eyes heal, if that makes sense. But it can help people be really comfortable. And it's better than using a black patch, because a black patch basically gives you a field cut or makes you blind in one eye, and then you can't see out to the side. So we like people to wear a tape patch, because light can still come in and it helps you with your balance and being able to move around better.
Yes.
So there's one. Some people have to use a Prism, so you can see a stick-on Prism, and Jeff, you said you wore that. The cool thing about Prism when someone has double vision is that it allows people to use both of their eyes. And once again, the Prism doesn't necessarily make everything better. It doesn't heal your eyes, but it allows both eyes to work together, and it gives better information to the brain for what is happening. So this is something, a tape patch is something that therapists can do in rehab, but Prism is something that an eye doctor has to put on. If for those of you who have double vision. Let's see if this works. I'm going to see if I can share my sound. I'm going to be really sorry if for some reason I can't share the sound to these, but I'm seeing for some reason my password isn't working for, isn't that the way it always goes with technology?
It totally is. Oh, there it was.
Okay, let me see if you can hear this.
And feeling frustrated. And so each year, each month, and even each week, you set goals.
So that guy's reading and he was having double vision, and you could hear how choppy he was reading, and you saw him closing one eye. But when we gave him a Prism,
These goals then serve as your compass, helping you determine priorities and make the necessary corrections to the on course.
you can see he's speaking more fluidly and you didn't have to close his eyes. So it's a compensation that was working for him to help make reading easier. Is there a question? Okay. Sometimes when people feel dizzy when they're walking around, we use what's called binasal tapes, and those are tapes that are put right in the middle. Steve really benefited from using those to help with his balance, and those go just right in between. It doesn't block your vision. It doesn't cover both one or either pupil. It just kind of takes some information out of the picture to make people feel more stable. So here's another guy reading. The sound isn't great on that, but you can see him using his finger to read. And this guy also got dizzy a lot when he was walking, but
Manipulated. So cupping can be easily introduced into the.
so when he had the tape patch on, again, it was like another compensation that could help him do things easier. Sometimes after a stroke, a person can't close their eye all the way. So one eye stays open and it can't blink. That causes eye irritation and can cause a lot of eye infections and can actually make a person's cornea get scratched and can make it really hard for them to see. So we use these lid weights sometimes as a compensation to help the lid close so a person can practice blinking and keep their eyes safe. So you can see in this picture on the left, this guy, he can't close his eye all the way. You can see the white of his eye. And then on the right side, with a little weight on top, it closes his eye all the way. So, and then if that works for people, you can, an ophthalmologist who focuses on plastic surgery can put a little weight inside the eyelid and a person can just wear that. And it helps them close their eyes. Isn't that cool?
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes too, after a stroke or a brain injury, a person can get very light sensitive. And there's a particular, anybody out there who gets light sensitive? Yeah, there's a particular tint and it's called FL41. And it's a rosy colored tint. And an optometrist can help you get that in your glasses, but there's also this website called noirmedical.com. If you don't need prescription in your lenses, you can buy these glasses that have this tint that you can use as a compensation to help you just have more tolerance for light. So some people like wearing them on the computer, some people like wearing them out to the store or different places that feel more light sensitive. These ones that I have on in this picture over here They go over a pair of glasses, which is kind of nice if you have to wear glasses. These ones, the woman's optometrist prescribed those for her. I think she was seeing Dr. Actually through Kaiser, Dr. Mercada, I think is her name. I'll have to think about that, but there's an eye doctor in the Kaiser network too that does some of this rehabilitation optometry. So you can go to Noir Medical though and get a pair of these. These are like $12. The ones I have on are maybe up to 30, somewhere between $12 and $30, but a nicer pair with normal looking lenses cost between $70 and $100 with no prescription in it. So there's another resource for that. And again, that just can help make things more comfortable for you so that you can do more. It's a compensation. And then there are some glasses for those of you who have a field cut is really interesting. And I have found in the past that not everybody enjoys these. The best thing you can do for a field cut is learn how to get your eye movements and your head movements very fast so that you're compensating with your body and your eyes. But this is a special type of lens called a Peli lens, which uses a prism that brings objects into kind of your side vision that's intact. So it just brings an object in and can tell you if there's some motion or something happening. So it gives you like a warning, and then you have to turn your head and look at it. So it doesn't replace your field. It doesn't, do anything except when you lose your visual field, you lose your warning system on one side. And this is one way to kind of have a warning system that there's something over there. And I think on this one, if it doesn't make us watch an ad, you can see, if I start it over here, you can see the person gets a warning that there's a balloon coming. And then here's like them actually seeing it, but like it gives you like a little heads up that something's coming. And some people feel kind of safe with that. So, and then there are other prisms called sector prisms that also do the same thing of kind of making a warning for people. But it takes some coordination to really learn how to work with these, and you have to get it set just right. I find in general, people actually prefer to get fast at their eye movements. But I've had a handful of people in my career that have enjoyed wearing a pair of glasses like this for their field cut. Okay, any questions about those compensations?
I suppose the costs go all over the place, don't they?
Yeah, the Prism glasses to get them ground in and made are expensive.
Yeah.
You can make them with a pair of stick-on prisms for trial that an eye doctor could help you for the field cut. But like the Noir lenses are not that expensive, but if you need prescription and you want them to be colored, that's more expensive. But the tape patch can be made with Scotch tape.
You're right.
Or that's like hospital tape, or the tapes like this are made with like tape from the hospital or skin tape.
Yeah.
So, and then the lid weights also kind of vary depending on where you're, the eye doctor's office.
Mhm. Arnie has a question.
Yes.
Amy, really the only question I have is, will we be able to get your contact information?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be happy to share my email. Keith has my email.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get that to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to now talk just a little bit about remedial, just so you guys have an idea of what we think about as therapists when we're thinking about remediating. And this is what I thought about when I was working with Steve. So this is what I call the T for treatment. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'll give you some examples and I'll show you some clients, and give you some ideas of some things that you yourselves can do. But all the time, we want people to work on their spatial awareness. And so that's how you and your brain are relating yourself to the space around you. And then we can do all sorts of things, exercises, but the main thing about doing exercises, our main goal is to help people make it automatic. So after a stroke, your brain loses some of its skills. And if you're trying to relearn, for example, how to track your eyes more smoothly, that takes a lot of effort at first. And you practice it, you practice it, you practice it. And then what we want is for it to become an automatic skill like it was before you had your stroke. So we're always thinking about how to help people relate to space and then how to help things become automatic again so that your brain doesn't have to take effort to do it as much. And then in the middle, we like to build on body awareness skills, eye movement skills, visual motor skills, which is like from your body to space. And then we can work on all these other skills like scanning, focusing, not being dizzy, thinking with your eyes, so your visual memory. And then we always want to put it into functional activity or the activities that are important to you. So this is how I this is like my brain on the paper in terms of how I'm, after I do a vision screen and I see what people's problems are, I'm thinking about all of these things of like, how are they doing with their spatial awareness and how do I help them make it more automatic? And then I'm going to build on this foundation and then work. Yes.
Amy, that body awareness, would that be considered like left side neglect?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, your body aware, and just like, can you feel where your body is in space? Like, can you tell, are you sitting up or laying down? Or, are both arms moving equally? Or, kind of like, where is my body? And like, where is my sense of it? Because that actually gives the eyes a lot of information about spatial awareness. So this is, it's probably a little fancy, but I want you all to be aware of just how a therapist will look at it. And then I'm going to give you some ideas. So when a therapist is thinking about your spatial awareness, we are always trying to help people include their touch. So we want people looking and then touching it to make sure that they can feel where things are. We're thinking about, can they add some body awareness to it through what we call proprioception or body sense? So we like to do a lot of isometric or like hold, place and hold type exercises because they're very deep in the muscles. We can do pushing, pulling, we can use vibration and other sensations to help people get a better sense of their body. We can use hearing. Can you touch something and hear it so that you can tell where it is in space? Can the person turn their head, roll, rock, move their body to get a better sense of spatial awareness? And then using visual information, of course. So we're always trying to see if we can use all the senses to give a person a sense of where they are. And one of the main things that we work on, and I'm going to take you guys through a little exercise, is helping people be anchored in their body and then aware of their peripheral information. Okay, so we want people to, sometimes when people have trouble with their balance or they get dizzy, they end up clenching onto the world with their eyes. They tend to use their eyes for balance instead of their body. Or, our eyes are always used a little bit for balance, but when you overuse that, it ends up making you feel more dizzy. So we have to teach people how to have soft eyes again, and take in the whole picture. So I want everyone to just make sure their feet are on the floor for a second. And I want you to look above your computer or around it, and just look softly at something far ahead of you. Maybe it's a spot on the wall, maybe it's out the window. Find a place kind of far away, and I want you to just put your eyes really soft on that, and far. And then while your eyes are soft there, I want you to think about what can you see to the right without even moving your eyes, and just be aware of the things that are on your right side. Now, if you have a field cut on the right or the left, this one side, you're not going to be able to see things, but I want you to try to just be even aware as far as you can see in that direction. And I want you to hold, find maybe the farthest thing over you can see and kind of hold that in your vision. And then I want you to put your attention on the left side without moving your eyes and think about what's the farthest thing that you can see over there. And see if while your eyes are resting on that faraway object, can you take in the whole picture around you without even having to look at it with your eyes? You don't have to move your eyes, but you can be aware of the space around you and what's happening. So, and then you can kind of turn your attention back to the computer. But while you're looking at the computer now, can you kind of hold some of that information and be aware of it there? And this is one way that we help people feel less dizzy, more spatially aware, and, it's kind of start helping them move more easily through the world. It's called anchoring. Yes.
I have a-
Amy,
Oh,
one thing I've noticed is that if I just move slower, then that
Yeah.
dizziness goes away too.
yep. Moving slower is one way. And so that's a compensation, right? That you can use to do that. And so I think that's a really smart thing. But if you want to continue to work on getting that faster, learning to kind of be aware of what's going on either side. So this is one remedial way, or like one exercise that can be done to help that start to get better, as you feel more comfortable.
And Amy, I was going to just say that, I never really paid much attention to it, but as you took us through that, I
Mhm.
really noticed that the left side definitely doesn't see as far. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's, I knew that since my stroke, but is there something that we can do that then would increase that one side or the other?
Yeah, I think continuing to kind of just, like work on your eye movements, but continuing to just put awareness on that and see if over time you can expand that. But if you've had a cut, there is a boundary to that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with like massaging the boundary or like being aware of it and seeing if you can kind of, it can feel like you're going into a cave, or like a dark place where there's not a lot of information. But if you can kind of make friends with that, I think, there's always the potential to kind of keep expanding. But we, there's no guarantees when it comes to having an actual cut out of your vision. So there's one exercise, but also for spatial awareness, just continue keeping moving and moving your body and using your body and doing exercise, whether it's like pool, jogging, if it's walking, if it's stretching, if it's, like, doing some weights. This is a picture of Tai Chi. It's one of the best exercises you can do for your balance, whether it's an exercise class or being on a spin bike, continuing to move your body is one of the best things you can do for spatial awareness. So something to think about. And then as therapists think about making things more automatic, we try to add on a challenge. So when I was working with Steve on his eye movements, we were working on, standing on a board or a ladder while he's moving his head and his eyes, like, doing a whole bunch of things to help make it more automatic, like to walk and talk while he's performing a skill, to listen to a story and be able to remember it while you're working on those things. So, so that's one of just another thing, that to think about in terms of helping skills become more automatic. But quickly, I want to show you guys some of the interventions that we did with Steve. One is a sensory eye stretch. So this is what we call kind of an eye push-up. And so this guy is doing eye push-ups, and there's not sound on this one, but there's a touch. Remember, we like touch for spatial, and he's stretching his eyes. He's having a hard time finding the down. And then she's going to give him another target. She's working with him on trying to get his eye to feel comfortable going down. But she's going to move in all 4 directions, in, up, out, and down. And Steve did a lot of these, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah, I still am.
It's very meditative.
I'm still doing them.
Yeah. So this is what we consider like an eye push-up. And after time, this gentleman just got a lot more comfortable. And so there's touching, there's sound.
Down, pull.
His eyes got a lot more confident, but it's like a deep stretch for the eyes.
And out, pull.
Yeah, my eyes actually got sore like I was lifting weights.
Yeah.
I have from doing them so much. Yeah.
Yep.
Really.
And then we also work on tracking. So this is like, here's another way to do tracking. This lady, she was doing them kind of like the eye push-ups, but this gentleman, Steve, you did some of these too. So he's using touch and sound and following a line, but he's moving his eyes, following his hand. So he's watching, his eyes are just practicing smoothly going back and forth without moving his head. So that's another remedial exercise we can do. Here's one. It's like back and forth eye movements. So saccades are fast jumping back and forth of the eyes. And this lady was using, was just looking between 2 pencils in the first video. And in the second video, she was pushing against somebody else's hands. So she got a little bit more spatial information of going back and forth and was able to do a little bit better. So she's working on getting her eye movements faster. And here's another person also working on some back and forth. We're working on making it more automatic. So he has to bounce the balls back and forth while he's also moving his eyes back and forth. So he's kind of having to pay attention to 2 things at once. We can work on, with tracking, we work on the eyes moving with the head still, but we can work on the eyes still with the head moving. So this person is looking at the target and moving her head back and forth. And then in this other video, she has the binasal tapes and was able to do better for a little bit longer period of time. These are all eye movements that we can work on. So the smooth movements of the eyes with tracking, the fast back and forth movements with saccades, the head moving with the eyes still and gaze stabilization. And here's this gentleman here doing the same thing. Moving his head side to side.
Quite as far and a little faster. There you go.
But he's using a hand for a spatial target. And then visual scanning you can work on and that's a combination of all the eye movements. So being able to scan your environment and get a lot faster is another exercise that can be done. And so to kind of review, we talked a little bit about compensatory interventions or helping your vision be more comfortable, but then also exercises that can be done to help people's eyes get faster and more confident. And the main thing that I want to leave you all with is to continue to be good self-advocates. When I was working with Keith's brother, Steve, you know, he went to the eye doctor and the glasses that he got just didn't feel good. You know, but the eye doctor had said, well, try to adjust to them, like, you got to make yourself get adjusted to them. But like, even with some adjustment, it was too much. Like, it didn't feel comfortable, which means it just wasn't, even though the doctor said that they were right, that it meant that they weren't right. You know, a pair of glasses should never not work for you. They're compensatory. They should make you feel good and should be helping you do things. So, you know, Steve had to go back and advocate for himself to say like, hey, this isn't working for me, you know, like, what else can we do? So I want to continue to encourage you as stroke survivors. Self-advocacy is one of the strongest muscles that you can flex, and one that you can continue to like learn and grow and cultivate, and continue to be, you know, like seekers of information and knowledge and, you know, ways to continue to help yourself improve and feel better and better after your stroke. So,
Could I ask a question?
yes.
When you're doing this work, is the goal not to have the eyes work together in unison? And the question is, why do you cover one eye when you do eye work, and why don't you leave them open?
In most of those cases, we're using one eye because the person was having double vision.
Oh, okay.
And when a person's having double vision, we try to get each eye strong and work them. And then we would also be working them together. But
Okay.
that was just beyond the time and space of this particular presentation. But with eye movements, otherwise the person would be practicing constantly having double vision, and it wouldn't be a very rewarding exercise.
My second question is, and it's real quick, I suffer from extremely dry eyes. So I had my stroke almost 2 years ago. I did have nystagmus surgery, or strabismus surgery. I don't wear vision glasses anymore. As you can see, I have some readers that I wear once in a while, but up to this point, everyone I've seen at this point says that this is the way it is, but I can't explain how my eyes are so dry. Now, I know I don't drink enough water, but you know, I tried omega-3s, and just the extreme dryness of my eyes, it seems to be, I've done all this work that you're talking about today, and I think it's amazing, but my biggest complaint right now is these dry eyes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That is like really frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, has anybody suggested, I know sometimes they can do like plug your tear ducts.
Yeah.
And that can make you tear more, or like just continuing to drop. But I don't know if you've tried any of the tinted lenses, if that would help at all to just take some of the edge off. But that's a really frustrating problem, and like one that we've got to keep like pushing the industry to get better at, because I also don't know. I have another client right now that is also having this like persistent dryness and burning, and it's just miserable.
Yeah.
But like, we're not great at it yet, but that's where we need to keep being good advocates, right?
Sure.
Any other questions, everybody? I can't.
I have a question.
The
I have a
screen.
question.
Oh, go ahead, Joyce.
Yes. So don't think I'm nuts, but I when I stare at a picture on the wall, or I stare at something on the floor that's dropped, I wait 5 seconds and it animates itself. It animates itself.
It does.
Side, and the picture is moving. So I told the ophthalmologist about that, and he said brain damage. That's all. So what is a real vision, Amy, that I see the pictures moving?
What my hypothesis would be is that your eyes, they get kind of tired, and then you're starting to have double vision. Like, but then you're trying to kind of pull it together. So like, if they kind of are going like this, like dancing, or kind of like, you know, looking a little, you know, like moving, it's either that, you know, you might be having double vision, or your eyes might have a hard time just being still. Like your eyes might just have like a rhythm to it from your stroke.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Still.
Thank you.
And Joyce, you're still seeing a therapist, correct?
Well, no, not now, but
Okay.
a physical therapist.
Or an occupational.
Okay, no, not now.
Okay.
I'm taking a break because my knee is collapsing. I want to get a knee brace, so
Okay.
I'm waiting for the brace woman to call me, and that takes long. That takes long.
Hey,
Gotcha.
hey, Keith.
Yes.
I was just gonna tell Joyce that one of the problems I had and the weird stuff I was seeing is I had a right eye tremor where my eye actually shook. And then I had torsion. So if I looked in one direction or the other, my right eye would turn in the socket. And I saw all kinds of weird stuff.
Mhm.
Wow, that's
I just did. I couldn't hardly walk across the floor in a straight line. I don't think I've ever been that frustrated in my whole life. So
Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
Amy, could you take your slides down now so we can see
yeah.
everybody?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Yep.
We just got a couple of minutes. Any other quick questions, you guys? Lonnie.
Yes, thank you, Amy. That was a great presentation. My question is, do you have any ideas on how I can get used to progressive lenses? I've tried them, and as a stroke warrior, sometimes it's hard to walk. I know it's because I'm not putting my eyes in the right place, but any tricks on how to get used to those?
I sometimes people do well with kind of picking an object far away and an object up close and just kind of practice jumping back and forth into the sweet spot so that you can kind of really learn where your sweet spots are. But you could try that sitting down and then try it standing up too, so that you can like practice looking at the floor and far away. But like with the progressives, it's all about finding the place where your neck needs to be in order to put it in there. So it takes a while to
Thank you.
get.
So it's really just practice.
And then you could practice your side vision, like, practice anchoring with your side vision and like just being more aware of space. But I think just practicing jumping near and far, with some intention can keep helping that be better.
I really, really appreciate you coming on, Amy, because, we all know things like practice, but we sometimes need a bump. We need a hit in the butt. We need to, be told, and we've got to continue to keep practicing and getting better. And a lot of times, I'll be the first to admit I get lazy, but it takes a lot of hard work. We know that, but Bev also said she has really dry eyes and she uses Romo Cool Drops. They're OVC with a pink cap. Do you want to talk about that, Bev, first quick second, then we got to run.
Those look cool. Like,
They were recommended by my optometrist, so but it's over the counter, so you don't have to have a prescription or anything, and they do work. It's just hard to get the cap off, and I can't do it right now because I need two hands to do it.
What's the name again?
Romo Cool, and it looks like that. Sorry.
Thank you.
It doesn't. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go. Okay, Romo Cool.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the notes. How about that, Jeff?
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Amy, thank you so much. We're kind of up against the clock. Really appreciate you coming on. She did a fabulous job, you guys. We all want to say thanks so much. I mean,
Thank you.
we
Thank you,
really
Amy.
appreciate it. It's huge help for us. And we just really appreciate you coming on. Steve, thanks for
And as
showing.
soon as I get your email, Amy, I'm gonna reach out to you.
I'll look forward to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
thank
get
you.
that done. Quick couple of things. We've got Josh Orlin is going to present plant-based nutrition next time. I'm thinking about carving a hole in this because we all need to be able to visit with one another here pretty quick. So on April 11th, I have somebody scheduled, but I might move that out because I feel like we're needing some time together. And of course, we need to give Michael time to say whatever is on his mind as well. I can't hear you, buddy.
That's it.
I said, what am I supposed to talk about?
Well, listen, I appreciate all you guys so much. Thanks for coming on here today, and we'll get the recording out. Great seeing everybody. And thanks again, Amy. Really appreciated you coming on here today.
Yeah, nice to see all of your faces. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
keep up all of the good work.
Amy, I should see you in a couple weeks.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Come on down,
Yeah.
Steve. Look
I,
forward to
oh,
it.
I'm coming.
I can't
And,
wait to.
and for the rest of you, I'm gonna head back to Greater Idaho as soon as I can.
Hey, John, go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, who said? Who was
No, my
calling name?
puppies are still around here, and so I'm yelling at them.
Oh, was it you, Ben?
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.
Aloha.